continue a year after this war is started.
Israel under fire nonstop for 1 year. And joining us now for reaction and to remember the heinous attacks of October 7th, 1 year later, foreign policy expert Harley Lippman and former advisor to the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Ruthie Bloom. Welcome to both of you. Ruthie, I know you are in Tel Aviv now. Tell us a bit about how it feels today. I certainly cannot imagine. Just share some of the scope of what you're observing and feeling.
Well, it feels kind of schizophrenic. On the one hand, there's national mourning, all over the country, and that's obvious since we're commemorating the worst atrocities committed against Jews since the Holocaust. On the other hand, it's been a very good 3 weeks, I would say, in terms of Israel's taking back its mojo. We have been doing operations in Lebanon. We started a ground incursion. This is all very important. We found tunnels and weapons in Lebanon, and they were planning another October 7th-like attack. That's important, and I believe we are going to strike Iran in some fashion in the very near future.
As we wait to see how that all plays out, I just want to go back through some of the statistics that from that awful day back on October 7th of 2023. Have a look at this. This is 1,139 were killed on October 7th. 251 hostages were taken. 97 people are still thought to be held in captivity. 46 Americans killed. 7 Americans are still being held hostage. Harley, just when you look at that, this, some would say, was Israel's 9/11. And we continue to see how Israel has now played this through and continues to try to take out these terrorists. We're seeing this all play out. Just give us an understanding of how Israel is going to continue to attack this. And we know if Iran does get involved, what does that look like?
Well, I went to the Nova Music Festival Memorial not that long ago, and it's very moving. When you see they have there the pictures, the full picture of the faces of the beautiful people, the women and the men who were murdered there. And when you look at those faces, these young people, I couldn't stop crying. Lily was crying for 2 days afterwards when you see their lives taken away for nothing. But what struck me by being there was that we were given a tour, and we saw that there were cars of people who went to the music festival, which had bullets in them. And then there was a large number of cars that were totally torched, that obviously were burned completely. So I asked the Israeli leaders there who were conducting the tour to explain that. I didn't understand why some cars appeared to be completely burned. And they explained that Hamas terrorists had accelerants, that when they shot people in the car, they then threw in something to make the car completely incinerate and burn up. And when they captured some of these Hamas terrorists, they told the Israelis that the reasons why they did that was to send a signal that we're going to reduce your body to ashes. Exactly what the Nazis did to Jews in crematoria and Auschwitz. This is what we're going to do to you. It was so chilling to hear that. My mouth was open and I was in shock to hear that people would hate so much to send that kind of message.
Disgusting symbolism there, to be sure. Ruthie, last night, of course, the eve of October 7th, French President Emmanuel Macron called for an arms embargo on Israel. Now, the call, of course, as we've been discussing, comes amidst Israel fighting Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and the Houthis simultaneously. And as, of course, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, of course, you formerly worked with, he issued a fire rebuke to Macron. Let's listen to what he said.
Is Iran imposing an arms embargo on Hezbollah, on the Houthis, on Hamas, and on its other proxies? Of course not. The axis of terror stands together. But countries who supposedly oppose this terror axis call for an arms embargo on Israel. What a disgrace. Well, let me tell you this. Israel will win with or without their support. But their shame will continue long after the war is won.
Ruthie, we have less than a minute left, but there's been so much hatred around the world towards Israel, towards Jewish people. The anti-Semitism, of course, we know raging in incredibly high numbers. What do you see moving forward? Is this just something that Israel is going to do despite the hate from around the country? And I'm going to say, I hate to make it political, but with or without the direct support of the existing United States administration?
Absolutely. We have no choice. This is an existential war going on here. Our enemies have vowed to annihilate us, and they're proceeding to try to do that. We will not let it happen. Unfortunately, our so-called allies keep saying that they have our back and then stab us in it. Well, we can't sustain that, and we do have to win this war. And when we do, that is when there will be a chance for peace in the Middle East, not beforehand.
Harley Lippman, Ruthie Bloom, thank you. All right, and Florida bracing for a second hit following Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Milton brewing in the Gulf and exploding in strength. The storm now topping out as a Category 5 hurricane. That's higher than Helene, set to make landfall later this week. More on that developing storm that could be devastating this hour. Plus, former President Trump makes a triumphant return indeed to Butler, Pennsylvania, the site of the first assassination attempt on his life. Just one of his many stops in battleground states.